Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why don't you call hands? Roll call, please.
Mr. Paz?
Here.
Ms. Vassia? Here. Ms. Kelly is excused.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Here.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Here.
Mr. Shapiro?
Here.
Mr. Waring?
Here.
Mr. Caucus?
Here.
Mr. Basor?
Here.
And Ms. Raylan? Here.
Okay, and also here is Mr. Wozon and Chief Sam Polsky. Statement, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. 1, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 5th, 2024, and 2, emailed to the retrospective Carrier Post on January 5th, 2024. This is just discussion items, public hearings for a 6-5 meeting. Ordinance 2409, repealing ordinance 2401, the COLA. That's an adjustment we're making. Okay. Ordinance 24-10 is a salary ordinance. Who are we changing? I forget that one already.
Many are just.
The range. Okay.
And
And 24-11 is mechanical fees. So everyone knows, we've been working with the construction office to try to get these fees all squared away. And I'm under the impression that the contractor who does the software is going to help us update this. Is that the last email I got?
we will explain how it gets done, yes. Somebody either here or.
So he doesn't physically do it.
He doesn't physically do it.
Can we hire him to do it, or do you think that's?
Uh,
I mean, what do you think, Dan? I mean, would it help that office if we hire a guy to come in and just plug all
When
that?
when I spoke to the construction official, it was either somebody here in-house to do it, or we could hire somebody from another town that's familiar with the system.
Oh, so Wayne came up with one or two things.
Yes.
Okay. I just think we need to get it done as quickly as possible. I mean, I know Dan likes to go to the construction office every day,
Yes.
but we'll get it done. Okay, so as long as we have a plan, that's fine with me. New business discussion for the January 5th meeting, alarm system ordinance. You gotta help me out, guys. Is this the one that Matt was talking about? Is that it?
Dan's working on it.
So just so everyone knows, what we're working on is an ordinance that basically says false alarms. You know, either, I guess, I would assume it's fire service or police service going out for alarms. You know, my building's in Gloucester Township, so very similar. If you get too many calls, you have to pay. The city of Philadelphia charges, I think, $1,200 or $1,500 when a call goes out. Because I have some friends that work in CHOP, and if the alarm goes off, they charge $1,500 to come out there.
So in other words, if you call and you're in a...
No, we're talking about alarm systems. So Sign Pros has an alarm.
Okay,
The alarm falsely goes off because, you know, I have a leak in my bathroom and it hits the smoke detector, which actually happened. The smoke detector goes off, fire company comes out, and it's a leaky faucet. And if this is habitual, I believe there's a mulligan that they get.
okay.
But if they keep doing it, it's more about alarm systems. Don't think it's about,
Okay.
correct, Dan, it's more of an alarm issue.
Is that just for businesses or businesses and residents?
You know, I'm not aware of what Matt was sent over, or what Dan was working on, or what the other towns had. I would assume it's only commercial. I can't imagine.
General commercial, and it's, those properties they're out to all the time.
Yeah. I don't believe it's homeowners at all.
Most of the properties aren't taking care of their system.
They're not updating their system, and we respond out there every day.
You know, the example I got was the construction guys are out there working, and they break something, and it sets the alarm off, and then they're responsible. Philadelphia says, why are you making us come out here, and you broke the
Right.
alarm. Other towns have fire watches, do you remember that, when you turn the system off? I think we actually have that also, if
We do.
we do. So, fire marshal inspection appointments. So what we have is the union did a nice job of sending us over a draft resolution, which basically follows the contract, which, and since Mike's here, I'm assuming you're going to give me authority to say your name.
Sure.
So Mike has already taken the classes. He's the one we decided is going to replace our existing fire official. The only thing we had to do is, per the contract, it lays it out. There's a little bit of gray areas, but fine. The way it's written is clean enough that Mike maintains being a captain. but he's also going to be our fire official. And he gets a stipend, but it won't be a stipend. I believe it'll roll into his salary. Because on certain positions, we really don't want to do stipends. We want to have it in the salary. And so everybody knows in the pension system, if it's a stipend, it's not pensionable, it causes questions, and it's a lot of aggravation. So when we can define people's jobs better and put that in the job, I think it's much better. The only thing we have to do a good job about is job descriptions, which I think Dan has pointed out, and some other people point out we don't always have. So in the job description, we need to be clear that Mike is the captain, Mike is the fire official, and this is what he, and so our resolution, I think, is pretty good. Do you have a copy of that resolution? Is that in our resolution? Okay, well, it'll be in it. So it would be a memorandum, the council would have to authorize me to sign it. So if you're okay with this, I'll let everybody know, because not everybody saw this, and we need to get this done at the June meeting. I will not be here at the June meeting, so Ms. Patsy will take care of this. But basically, it says, following this agreement between the borough and the firefighter local, and make sure, and I'm not doing anything illegal, I'm reading a proposal, and I think we're okay. Dan usually yells at me on that. I mean, this agreement only lasts till December 2024, but it doesn't matter. This is for an appointment. We have a contract that's expiring. You know, the borough's identified a need to replace the fire official due to the retirement of the current. Pursuant to the Parents Matters Bureau prerogative, Captain Kearney will be appointed to the fire official position. The borough appointment of Captain Kearney to the position of fire official creates a dual role for the fire captain position. Once again, we have contracts that are very specific, and it hurts us sometimes. We literally, you know what I mean? Technically, you could almost argue Mike's now having two jobs, but that's because of the way it was written. The contract wasn't written for one person to do both. The dual role fire captain position is a fire captain who is assigned as the fire official or another area of responsibility. Represented the borough and the local have negotiated in good faith for this regarding this subject. And then it has his salary, which is his current salary in the contract, and there's a stipend in there, a differential we're calling it. We're not calling it a stipend. It's a differential pay of $1,500, so he'll just be part of his normal hourlies. Nothing changes other than the fact that he has the title. And then what we do is we actually appoint him. So we'll formally appoint him as the fire official so that he can sign the reports that goes up to the state. Scott's name would come off, Mike's name would go on. Is there any other? I know that's a lot.
No, it sounds good.
Okay?
Thanks for doing it.
So we'll get that done. Used car ordinance
Do
amendment.
I have a sword on his shoulder?
It's just, it's just, you know.
The blessing?
We have it's actually nice to have a contract.
You have to kneel in
That's
front
it,
of
yeah, kneel. Used car ordinance. So if everyone remembers, the warehouse is moving along very well at 9th Avenue. The landlord has two proposed tenants. One tenant still has to come in front of the planning board, so it's subject to that. The other proposed tenant, we as a council already agreed that we have no problem having a used car lot down at that location. Council passed a resolution. Legal basically says, though, our ordinance, even though it's a permitted use in the zone, the ordinance is specific on the number of used car licenses. So what we have to do is amend the ordinance to basically say, we're adding one more, I don't know if Dan wrote, but it would just be one more on in this SED zone. Because we don't want to create more used car licenses. We want to, the intent of our predecessors was to move the car licenses to 9th Avenue, which was kind of silly. But that's the ordinance we have. The ones that are there, the point is if they go anywhere, they can't come back. And I don't know if that's good or bad for the town, we have to make that decision. One thing nice about ordinances, we can change them anytime we want. But once again, once we do it, it's hard to go back. So once we approve this ordinance, the change and allow this one there, we can't take it away from him after the fact. At least I think we'd get sued if we did that. So if there's no objections, I think we should do a first reading, and this will do the first reading for the ordinance to amend to allow one used car license. Well, we increased the number from 5 to 6, I believe, in our ordinance. But I think we could put in parentheses specifically for this used car license on 9th Avenue, and if it were to go away, we can always say that that license goes away. Anything on that? Okay, good, you guys are easy.
I just think on that we should know, everybody should understand that it's the high-end classic cars, and they're not gonna have cars out on a lot. They're
It's
all
not a
air
typical
conditioned.
lot.
Right, they're air-conditioned, heated,
But
indoor cars.
what's interesting is we're gonna be subject to a master plan review coming up again. this was something that the planning board should send to council saying, you know, why are we trying to put used car lots in an industrial park? You know, your planner normally wouldn't actually say that. You never put a used car lot in a special economic zone like where we have the, you know.
They're inside and do a lot of consignment.
But no, the ordinance, there was a lot of pushback in the 70s and 80s to get rid of used car lots.
That's what it
There
would
were-
be, what makes it a used car lot?
The cars are used. It's kind of simple.
Isn't there, to you, but are there guidelines to be a used car lot? Or-
I really don't know, to tell you the truth. All I know is a new car license is different than a used car license. And like, we had to expand Toyota. Do you remember that? The planning board had to agree that Toyota could take over the TD Bank. That was a use variance. And they had to say, wait a second, you can sell new cars, but you can't sell used cars. Why? I don't know. I'm telling you, a lot of stuff is from the 70s and 80s.
You should know, Mayor.
I'm just telling you what our predecessors wrote down on a piece of paper.
Our other attorney is not really telling us much information, Mr. Long. No, I'm just kidding.
What? No, the only thing is that towns can regulate. You know, people yell at us that there's too many smoke shops and stuff, smoke shops in town. We actually could write an ordinance and say we limit the amount of smoke shops. You guys are the engineers, right? We could write an ordinance. Say we only allow for, what's that? Propose it. Write it up. Do we ever say no to anything? No. I've never seen us make it. But we have to talk
Go
about
find
it.
a town that has.
And then you have to regulate it. So here's the other problem with this town and every other town that I deal with. You can write something in an ordinance, but then it doesn't always get enforced. Like we have an ordinance right now because it goes back to a previous detective in the police department wants to regulate the pawn shops. So we have an ordinance for pawn shops. But you know what we never do?
You never do.
We don't make them do the application. We don't make them, just, you know.
You don't find out the info.
I mean, are we supposed to knock on doors again and count how many dogs and cats that live in town? Towns used to do that. Some still do. Knock on doors to do that. So, once again, an ordinance is only as good as the enforcement, and then the enforcement will say it's only as good as the ordinance. So, I'm a tough one in the sense that if the council said that they wanted to regulate smoke shops like we did with used car lots, I'd have no problem with it. I think the difficulty you might get is one of the things that we had a problem in this town is we had empty buildings. And then the question becomes, do you want empty buildings or do you want something that's, I mean, how do you get, like, people want coffee shops. Well, you know, I'm in the private sector, man. I'm a free market guy. There's no coffee shops in Runnemede because there's no demand for a coffee shop. I know that sounds awful. I'm telling you. I know the Dunkin' guys. They got 600 locations. They know their thing. And
So you have to put something else with coffee.
I'm in the sign business. You know how many coffee shop signs I put up and how many I take down? So I'm just telling you, government putting their finger on the scales is tricky. So, but I'm not against it. I'm not, because at the proliferation, I would argue that the guys who own some of those buildings in town are happy to have the smoke shops because they're getting rent. But let's get back to the used car license. I don't believe we've already said that we're okay with it. We just have to amend our ordinance. But I think the question is, we have to be, the ordinance is, and one of the way the ordinance is good is, we only allow the current businesses to get bigger. And if they go away, the license goes away. Does that make sense? And we can amend it if you want to amend that. Last thing I'll talk about it, I bought a piece of property next door to me that was a car lot. I got rid of the car lot, the license disappeared. It doesn't transfer. It's not a transferable license like a liquor license. Used car licenses are stuck to the property, so it doesn't move. So, okay. First reading, okay, now we'll get to some business. First reading, an ordinance of the Borough of Runnemede, appropriating $100,000 from the sewer utility capital reserve funds for the completion of the sewer utility capital project and for the borough. What's $100,000?
This is for Patchwork Landing, the $100,000 that we received as a condition of planning board approval to upgrade our pump station.
All right, so I saw the email, but I assume, okay, so they gave us the $100,000. We put it in our capital. Why would it just come out of the escrow account, pay for it?
Because this is not an escrow type project. We're upgrading our equipment in the area. So
And this is their fair share.
So this would be a capital project on our end. So this is how we would probably.
So the 100 went into this capital, and now the 100's coming out.
no, this is where we need to put it and to properly allocate it into a capital improvement line.
Right.
We need to do it.
So this will go in there and then you'll start charging from it?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion by Mr. Lowenstein, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Farrell. Any other discussion? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Vacy?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right. All right, Resolution 2487 is appointing an advisory board health member Beth Miller to replace Joyce Pinto on our health board. The clerk is required to be on the board of health, is that correct?
Shelby's was.
I mean, it has to be.
Shelby's was.
Would someone like to make a motion? Motion by Mr. Lowenstein.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Vacy?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right, that resolution is adopted. Resolution 2488 is a resolution accepting the resignation of the construction electrical subcode official as of May 17th. Would someone like to accept that resignation?
I'll accept the resignation.
Motion by Ms. Passio, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Lowenstein, roll call, please.
There's other people here.
Okay.
Ms. Vacy?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes, 1 absent.
All right, that resolution is adopted. Resolution 2489 is appointment of the construction electrical subcode officials. Our new construction official is Wayne Hans, who's our current building subcode official. So he's going to be our current construction official effective 5/16. He's already been doing the job. He's the one who's helping us out with these fees. And then James Prada is our electrical subcode official. Also, he's starting 5/28, so he's starting actually today. What town was he working in?
He worked for 34 years for Chrysler in Delaware. In '91, he started his own business as a licensed electrician and worked up until about 4 or 5 years ago. He retired and realized it wasn't for him and worked on getting his licensing. So he's down Vineland area, he does now.
Oh, he's down in Vineland, okay.
He's down that way, but he's going to come up.
Does he live around here? Is he live down here?
He's about a half an hour away, but he says no problem.
Okay.
He's still with it.
That's good. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Murray, second by Mrs. Passio. Roll call, please.
Vacy?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What will the hours and days be?
You know, so the law, which is interesting, the statute says, is that there are no hours now there can be an agreement of certain, daytime, stuff like that, but the governing body can't set the hours of the subcode officials or the construction official, which is insanity.
Well, we're looking at,
Tell me what
he's
he's,
looking at Tuesday and Thursday.
so Tuesdays and Thursdays, because the law says you have to inspect within 3 days of someone requesting an inspection. So once again, I requested an electrical inspection in Gloucester Township for tomorrow, they can't come on Thursday. That's acceptable.
Is there a time that he's here?
Afternoons, I believe it's 1 to 5.
Is what he told you he wants to.
Yeah, something like that.
Because remember, if he's working in Vineland, he might work down there and then come up here. These part-time guys, right? Yeah. Now, we have been talking more about some more office hours, some more communication in that department. Okay, Resolution 2490 is approval of assigned retirement health benefit agreement. What's that? Do I know this one? Oh, this is for, okay, once again, this is, I forgot already. So, am I allowed to say his name because he's on the agenda, Mr. Hill?
She doesn't know you are.
Well, he knows about this thing, so he's already agreed to this. So, when an employee is entitled to health benefits in this town, but they're getting it through their spouse, our policy, the current policy of this administration is, if for some reason in the future, they would lose their spouse's health benefit for some type of, what's that called? Life-changing event. He could come back under policy. We previously did this with a police officer who retired, who's getting the benefit from his spouse. He wanted to know, because he worked here for 25 years, that he would still be entitled, and so we did this exact same thing. So all we did is we took the exact resolution that we did for the police officer, we inserted Mr. Hill's name in, and it basically gives him, the piece of paper, it'll go in his file that says if anything were to happen, a life-changing event, he could come back on our system. Good?
Yes,
Okay.
Sounds fair.
I would like to make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Larry, second by Mr. Shapiro.
Oh,
George, you up there. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bastian?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes, no absent.
Patty, I just want you to know that last week you and Eleanor weren't here. You were a mess.
There's a miss.
But no one was speaking up.
I'll second that.
Bob kept making motions, or he kept trying to abstain.
Especially without Eleanor.
Jeez.
All right.
It makes me feel good to know it was somewhat.
It was fun. Resolution 2491 is a resolution purchasing Public Works trucks. This was already in the budget, I believe in our capital budget that council approved. This is just a state contract, I think, which allows us to purchase these. Are these readily available, or is it going to take a time for these vehicles to come in?
As soon as we get a purchase order, we can go pick up.
That's awesome. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Robinson, second by Ms. Passio. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bastian?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes, yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
5 ayes, no absent.
So now you're.
That resolution is adopted. Before we get to committee reports, I just wanted to, there was a couple things. What were the couple things that I wanted to, I've already forgotten.
Energy aggregation?
Okay, so a few years ago, it was part of Sustainable New Jersey, was energy aggregation. Do you remember that? Where the borough, to save money for the taxpayers, hires a company to go out and bid on energy consumption based on the entire town's energy consumption. And so we're with PSE&G, so PSE&G very easily figures out how much energy the town uses, and you can say that everybody's going to be part of this, and we're going to go out for bid. For 3 years, we've tried to do it, but it has not worked, because the rate, they wouldn't give us a better rate.
I think I remember meeting with the gentleman.
You remember they came in and they explained it to us. Now, that gentleman has not been able to do anything, so when I was at this latest meeting, there's a new group that's come up, and they're doing a few towns in Camden
I think
County.
the first person we had here was Gary Trinder.
Is that his name?
He was, yeah, the first
Yeah,
gentleman.
but we've never been able to do it. So now they've never been able to do it. So the borough, I have to double check with legal, but I believe that if we want to try again, there's another company we could try that is grabbing, so now it wouldn't just be Runnemede, it could possibly be Runnemede, Barrington, Collingswood. There's like 7 or 8 towns that they're trying to put together to go out for bid. And the more towns that go into the bid, there's an opportunity to do it. So the way it works is they will only accept the bid if it's lower than what the people are paying, and it's a fixed amount. Where it gets a little tricky, and we agreed to this last time, and it's a little tricky, but I understand why they do it. The way it works is, if we go into this bid, everybody in the town is part of it. And so everybody will benefit from the lower rate. But the homeowner has the right to not want to be part of the rate. They could do their own, or they could not want to be part of it. Where the law is a little different in this one. It's kind of like the pension system. You have to go in it. If you want to opt out, you can opt out. So everybody gets opt-in. But if Patty gets a bill and says, I don't want to be part of this aggregate, she just has to either email or call back and it takes you off. Are we still interested in something like that? It does give us energy credit points, because the idea of Sustainable New Jersey is to try to, save money and things like that with energy. Does anybody, we could bring them in again to talk to us and see what other towns are going in, but I don't want to bring them in if nobody wants to speak to these people. What's your general thought? So your electric bill, your wife's going to, and it's going to now say PSE&G, but it's going to say that it's going through, South Jersey Cooperative, or something to that effect.
It couldn't be more than one.
It can't be more.
Okay, so it's a no-brainer.
I think, because that's why we've never been able to do it. The rates were always higher than what the average person was getting. And then you could always opt out if something were to change. And normally, the utilities don't want to go too far out because they don't know what energy costs are going to be.
Do you have anything on this one?
My question is, who's responsible for maintaining the electric grid? Is PSE&G still responsible?
The only difference, it's funny, there's nothing, PSE&G does everything. The only difference is that because they broke up the monopolies. These third-party companies are allowed to do the building. It's really, deregulation is a very weird thing. It still comes from PSE&G, it's still their lines. They still get paid, but if you look at your energy bill, there's a cost of the energy and there's a cost of the transmission. So transmission, they get their money no matter what. The cost of the energy is sold on a market, and it's a little weird, but it's the way to, it's a public utility, but even them, they're allowed to sell it. And I think the woman, they'll explain it just like they did to us 3 years ago. But I mean, I'd like to at least hear from them, because what they're trying to do with me is try to get all of Camden County to do it. Because this year, because I'm the president, they're like, well, can we come speak to everybody? You imagine, it's hard to get a council. How do you get 35 councils to agree to go with one person, even though it might benefit the entire county if we all bought it? Any objections to at least maybe reaching out for July or August? Patty?
No, I think we should.
I mean, if you try to, I mean, I'm hoping it saves. If we save people a few $100s, I think that would be
The
nice.
one that guaranteed not to go up. A few years ago,
I'm under the impression that's what it is, and that's the first question I would ask, because if the rate for PSC goes below what we're bidding, I'm under the impression it follows it down.
a few years ago, we did something at our house and it was low for a little while.
And then went up.
And then you don't look at your bill, then it went up.
We had that with gas one time here, didn't we have that with gas?
Well, and the thing with the gas company is, a lot of times they do the same thing, it's like supply and delivery, and some portions of the delivery ends up coming to you in a separate bill from a totally separate company. So, that's.
Well, there's a few questions, but there are at least, out of the 35 towns in the county, at least more than half of them have been trying to do this or do it.
Well, and
Has
that's what I'm
anybody been
curious about.
successful?
Yeah, well, that's why we did it, because it was Gloucester Township and Somerdale came to us and said, add to theirs. But then we never got it because the rates went crazy.
And the county does their own cooperative, so I'm curious as to why that isn't, and they do it through an engineering firm.
Well, there's another, there are 3 different companies vying for this, so there is competition. There is, when I met other people who wanted to do the same thing. We have the company that originally talked to us, we have the company, this one, I think you're right, the county has a few, so even in our 34 towns, there's 3 or 4 different cooperatives.
So if this is something that would actually be beneficial,
And save the borough money too.
I'm curious as to why the county itself wouldn't look into something like that when they do.
They have, they are, there's another company, I got another card, there's another company that is directly kind of related to the county. Yes, they are in it. But remember the county, and no offense to anybody who works for the county likes to get their bid. So, do you remember that? They're like the Godfather, and then that was recorded, right? What was the other thing? Energy, what was the next one?
Hired.
Okay, the Deputy Fire Chief here, can you come up and please help us out a little bit? Sure. Because I want to get this done, and Ms. Passio will take care of it next week, I think. So a letter was sent out from Anthony and the chief, basically saying that they did their due diligence with the civil service. Civil service did the fiscal, civil service did everything. They interviewed, and they've made a recommendation to hire someone, and I think we should accept their recommendation. They sent it to Ms. Kelly, she's not here tonight. I don't believe she sent it to me, so I'd like to get it on the agenda. I mean, we can still talk to Eleanor. I don't think she's going to have any objection, other than the fact that she might want to meet this gentleman. So maybe the committee.
She's already met him, he's a member of our police, right?
Yeah, so, but a formal,
Absolutely.
running through the ringer.
Yeah.
So help us out. Tell
All right,
us.
so you want his name?
Yeah,
and all that stuff?
absolutely.
All right, so
He's not protected by anything because he's not an employee.
He is.
He is.
He's a temporary public works employee.
Legal. He's protected, well then just say the employee, then,
All right.
the prospective employee.
You want me to read Pat's letter?
Yeah, please.
All right. After receiving all pertinent information from the civil service, conducting an extensive background check on both applicants, I am pleased to recommend our current employee for the position of firefighter full-time with the Borough of Runnemede. Mr. Runnemede has successfully passed the written and physical exams for an entry-level firefighter position through NJ Civil Service, holding the #1 ranking out of all the candidates on the Borough Certified Hiring List. He's also passed each step of the application process locally for the Borough of Borough. His qualifications, skills, and dedication to public service has been thoroughly evaluated and found to be exemplary. He has demonstrated a strong commitment to values and responsibilities associated with the position of firefighter. In conclusion, I have full confidence that Mr. Public Works Guy's ability to serve our community with distinction, his readiness and capability to perform the demanding duties of a firefighter make him an excellent candidate for this position.
So the only negative that I'm getting from it is we would lose an employee in the public works department, which I guess hurts, but we need to fill this position, and he's number one on our civil service list. The only question I'd have for you is if he would have to, we usually swear in a fireman.
Yes.
So you would have to swear in a fireman. So you swear, you'd be doing both, you swear in a policeman and a fireman.
And youth mayor and council.
And youth mayor and council.
Boy,
How are you gonna get this done in 22 minutes? That's our record for this.
Oh, I don't know, I think we'll have to, I don't know.
Still be faster than me?
I think since there was no communication from the department heads, I think there should be a 2-week given so I can find somebody else to fill it.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that. So what we could do, all right, let's talk about it.
Let it go Tuesday.
No, let me think about it. So one of the things that Mr. Well, you knew about this, though, right?
You can appoint with a different start date.
So the only thing that was said to me by Mr. Kemery, who's their union official,
On the record.
and I agree with, I think with Mike and Scott, a little overlap is not a negative thing, to have overlap between when people come and go. What we could do, well, let me ask you this, is it possible to swear somebody in and they start a week later or 2 weeks later?
We've had appointments with a start date as of.
You think that's fair?
That's right, it could be ceremonial further down.
Well, we do a ceremony because we only meet once a month, right?
Yeah.
You hate, I don't want to wait till July, that's way too long.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we have him start working on a date, but he doesn't get sworn in, that's not right either.
I'll just have an appointment for next Tuesday. I got 6 applications.
You do have applications?
I do have applications.
I'm okay with the overlap for a month. I thought that's, the only thing Mr. Kemery wanted to do was clarify this EMT certification. I don't think the board, and I didn't bring this up, one of the things that the union brought up is one of the qualifications to be a fireman is you have to be EMT certified. As you know, the borough is basically part of a shared service agreement, we're part of an outside agency that does it. Should firemen know how to do it? Yes. Can firemen take classes that police officers take and be certified enough? I think that's what Keith was trying to say. That we could get them good enough and not have to go through the rigorous training that they go through. Unless you're the captain, you already did.
He already went through that.
So he already has it. So why would Keith want to take it off the, it's in the contract, we'll deal with it later?
Yeah, I think it's more so
Just to get him in the door and then pending the test, because the provision's in there for him to start with just the firefighter certification, and then there's a
it comes down to one.
pay difference if he gets the EMT.
Oh, because there's a differential in there, that's the issue. But he has the cert.
He has the class, he should be taking the test for, so.
What's the pay difference, man?
It's 5,000
Yeah,
bucks.
say 5,000. And
For the start.
And it's substantial because our rate's low.
Oh, yeah.
Because our contract is an older contract, and so the rate is a lower contract. Well, any discussion? I mean, one thing great about what we do here is we can really decide on anything if we want to
Yeah, and
change
we
something.
would need the certifications upward into the.
I mean, it's not a bad thing to have.
No.
I mean, the only thing we could say is, if he's getting ready to take the test, I got no problem. I have no problem paying it. I didn't know that you could have a fireman without any of that cert. I thought you had to have it to be a fireman.
And it is being used because we are doing like first responder duties when they're not tied up with other responsibilities.
Well, that's questionable too. That's, we gotta,
Well,
we gotta make sure
We
that.
already met with Kate.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
So he should be an EMT?
Yes.
So he should be an
He
EMT.
should be an EMT.
Well, how about this? How about we follow the contract? Can't go wrong if you follow the contract. We appoint him as a firefighter with the caveat that once he gets the EMT, if he takes the test in a week, you know, we have it budgeted, he can get paid that, and then we'll just rework it out in the 24 contract. You know,
The only downfall, if you look at it, it's like he's taking a pay cut from public.
and the downfall is union representation,
I get it.
having a contract that is very specific on what people get paid. That sword cuts both ways. You know, you like that? Okay. I agree with you 110%. And I would have no problem waiving the EMT, but I think if he's already taken, he's done the effort, I think, you know, let's, I like keeping EMTs. I don't think it ever hurt us.
The difference is, remember, before, way back pre-civil service, was was always a firefighter EMT position just to apply for the job. With civil service, we can't guarantee who's going to be on that list, even if they have any prior certifications. So that's why there's rates for somebody with no certifications. If you have to send
It's all
them to
civil
county,
service.
if you send them to fire, if you have to send them to EMT. That's why there's those.
That's why we had that differential.
Because we can't,
Because back then, though, our goal was to get everybody.
you couldn't even apply unless you had it. Now with civil service, we don't know who's going to be on that list.
He would be off our list.
Not necessarily.
In the past, though. Okay.
When we
As long as we had a qualified number 2 or 3, you know?
Okay. Well, last thing, how long do you think it'll be before he gets his cert?
I got to check how many cases I've seen.
Is it a recurring test that's here? Okay. All right, no objections, you can swear him in, and then this way you can start, just give us a starting date, when you think you can start that day after, or
So if we
the
start
following week?
Monday,
The following Monday?
It's not going to change anything payroll-wise, so I mean,
Okay.
whenever we can transition.
That does change a little bit. Want to do it Monday, because we had the meeting on a Wednesday, and he would start on Monday. Do we need to buy him anything?
We can get them started with,
We
we
have-
asked for it.
Yes.
So we're good for now, we can get everything else.
So pick the Monday as the starting date,
June 10th.
June 10th. You okay with that? So you're sort of, so your work. You have to say all these things that I'm saying.
Okay.
And the employee is aware too of the differences if he starts as just a firefighter without the EMT, he knows the other states.
And I appreciate that they should be able to look at these contracts, and they have every right to, even question them, but this, the time to question them is when we're renegotiating. That contract, as Keith pointed out, it expires on December
And
24th.
he's aware of that too, knowing that it's low to start on.
24.
There is a chance to start over again.
Okay. And I would argue, even though I'm saying this, and I probably shouldn't, is that those rates, they should be renegotiated so we can get a good pool of people and
That,
fairly
we don't want to be a
paid.
stepping stone either. We don't want to see it go, just like.
And that happened to us before.
Yeah, so.
We hire somebody at a low rate and then they just get, and then they move on. It just doesn't help. You can't be there, you're too far away. Thank you, Andy. It's late you showed up. All right.
Move my seat.
So Beth, you're getting on it. So what we're gonna do is, my recommendation to Ms. Pastor, if she runs the meeting, is I would do the swearing in first, and then I would spend more time in youth and council. But it's her meeting. You can make everybody sit there and say yes.
I am going to swear you, mayor and council in first.
Okay,
That's
that's,
fine.
and then put that on the agenda. You guys go over the agenda.
Because I want them to become us, so they
Yeah.
just,
And then you work out with Beth if you want to eliminate the committee reports, whatever you want to do.
I won't be here either.
Yeah, eliminate.
they can explain a little bit of what you guys do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for you to say it, let the kids say it?
Yeah.
A little
Just
bit.
a little, just a
Okay.
little bit.
Keep it short.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. We got to tell everyone.
Eliminating, I just mentioned that. You said no committee.
You changed it.
No, you need to tell them what you do.
Yeah, maybe not a report.
You need to know what you
Maybe
do.
you work with the engineer.
Oh,
then,
that
yeah.
part. Oh, I see.
What was the third thing?
They don't have to do
That
a
was
whole
it?
report
Okay,
that's
on
what
anything, because I really want to finish that PowerPoint.
Wasn't the third?
Hopefully it works.
You walked off writing it down on your paper, you didn't really, you mumbled it, I don't know what it was.
Okay, let's go to committee reports then. Finance, Mr. Murray.
So I'm going to hold my formal report till next week. I just want to bring up that we did have a lot of moving parts in the construction office, and I want to thank the mayor, Shelley, and Matt for their assistance, and I think we have some good people in the right places. Hopefully we're going to move forward.
Just a question, is it going to be long? Because your report will be, you will not be doing the report. It will be your,
I don't anticipate it being as long as Mrs. Kelly's, but it will be.
okay, so.
Enough to give to the kid or something brief.
Yeah.
It'll be short and sweet.
Great,
I'll
okay.
keep Mrs. Kelly's report short.
Okay.
Mrs. Kelly's not here, but we did her business. Unless the chief, did you have anything else that you want to say for public safety?
Other than, I appreciate everybody's assistance, council, Shelley, Beth, everybody for swearing in Angelucci's doing a phenomenal job in the academy. I'm looking forward to the start. He's going to be a wonderful addition to our police department. Homegrown kid, he's been through our ringer for 6 to 8 months. 37 people started the academy. He's one of 24 standing still. So that's why it's important that I get to see these guys, because the academy is no joke. They lost 37 start down to 24 graduate.
And just to shorten up my report for next week is that the plug jam did go off, the following last week.
And successful.
10 days ago, very successful. Rain held out long enough. And it just went well. We worked with Kyle from Barrington, and it seemed like it was really smooth.
Made a lot more money?
We took in more money, I think, from the association, from the chamber. So we made more money, but it wasn't as, the dollars weren't all there, but we made more money, if you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Because there wasn't as many people, it was a nasty night, but people, once the rain stopped, they came out.
But the cut for the
The cut for
promoter
the,
was
for
too
the,
high.
for the, right, so now that our cut is better, and the chamber is going to pocket more money, or make more money. Harry's guys did an outstanding job. That night, plus the whole week leading up to it, the grounds were perfect, the setup was great, the chief and his guys did a great job out there. So I appreciate everybody's help.
Anything else? Is there anything else? No? Public events, Ms. Passio.
Okay, so everyone was there except one, that for the. He did not tell us you weren't going to the show. He
I
should-
did, I said he wasn't.
Did you? I didn't hear
Took
you.
it personal.
So anyway. Our Memorial.
Because Richie gets mad every time he's got to wear a suit, he yells at me.
Our Memorial Day services were absolutely touching.
The Facebook thing was very nice.
Yes, and did you see, he was from Caucus 29.
Caucus 29,
Yeah,
that was
he
nice.
came the day before, and I met a woman in the Acme who told me that morning, she said, oh, she said, oh, I saw you, everything on TV, you know, you're having an unveiling for the Vietnam vets, and I said, how did you know? And she said, it was on TV. I said, okay, great. So anyway, it did look beautiful, and I do have to thank Public Works, and I did go back out there, Harry, and I did finish painting the benches, because I did all the cement. Good thing I had that color paint. And they look good, they look like
They do
really
look
good.
good.
So they look really good. And then we did go over to the VFW, and of course, it started to rain, so we lucked out on our timing.
Moving it up
And,
actually helped us.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes,
ironic.
yes, yes. And Kate, thank you for the wreath, I know that.
And I do want to say this, I think maybe we should move it up more. I think
Move it where?
well, earlier in the day, it's not as hot. Even a half hour could make a difference to make it a little bit cooler. I mean, we've had some days that are really hot.
I know when it gets up like early with the poor Public Works, well, you did come out though.
Of course I was there.
Man, I was so proud of you, you were out there getting your suit dirty.
But the reason I said, because, to give them time also. I like what they do, how they read the names of
It was-
all the men.
Yes. It was-
Not just.
it was-
Samuel's a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
No, but at his ceremony, I like what he's doing, how he reads everyone's name.
Yeah.
It's not just those who passed away in the war.
Yeah, oh yeah, he did. He asked me, what my husband's
His
name was.
name?
He didn't
Mr.
forget.
Hammerly?
Yeah, his name was mentioned a couple times. So.
But that was something to talk about him, to work with
Made
him.
me very proud. Yes, okay, so, that I was very proud. It was a very nice event. We have 4th of July coming up. We have Youth Mayor and Council, which is this year I'm hoping they're going to make us really, really proud. I usually ask for an essay on if they were council and mayor, what would they do for our town. And this year I requested that they become mayor and council, and we are going to have a centennial, so please tell us what you would do. Give us an agenda, do drawings. And it was phenomenal. It was in color. They gave us an agenda, like 9 o'clock we have this speaker and who to invite. And you should see the dignitaries they want to invite. But anyway, and where the food trucks will be and where this will be and where. It was phenomenal. So I want to there will be 7 of them, and I would like to do PowerPoint, and they're all ready to do that. So they're getting their little thumb, whatever they're called, because I go, thumb who?
Thumb drive.
Thumb drive, I was going to call it thumbnail. So, their thumb drive's ready.
That's great.
So hopefully hopefully that'll work out so they can explain. And I think it's going to make our job.
And it was nice that they came to the memorial service.
They
There were
all
several kids
came. I think except Kai didn't show up, right? But I think everyone else did, and they're very, very, very enthusiastic about it. So I'm excited. Also, the 4th of July, my mummers are coming in. We're going to have another new group don't ask me who they are. Jazz group, I don't know, we have another group coming in, but we're gonna have a lot of music. It's gonna be another exciting event.
Can I suggest something?
Of course you can.
Years ago, we used to do a
I'll
book.
listen to you.
We used to do a book, and it was a lot.
We did.
Mr. Beatrice would run around and get sponsors, and Patty ran around and get
I ran
sponsors.
around and
And then once '08 hit, and the financial, we pulled back on asking businesses for money and things like that. But
actually, it was when the pandemic came.
what do you think, Dan, because you're kind of representing the chamber? I think it's better for us to work with groups. You know, one of the things that came up with the VFW when we were there in the memorial, Mr. Del Sordo was very adamant about it. He discussed it, how great it was in the 75th anniversary that the people came together, you know, little donations, big donations, and made this happen. And I talked to Commander Sampolsky about it, and he felt the same thing, that we should contribute and do this. What if the chamber, instead of hitting all the businesses, if the chamber also helps with, and I'm not taking it away from us, but we used to always have the businesses as part of this. Is there any way we could work with them and the businesses to?
Are you talking about what?
Well, money
September,
donated,
4th of July?
no, even
What are you
4th of
talking about?
July, that the businesses can be back where they used to be. I don't know, I don't remember we used to get the scouts to hand out the pamphlets, do we want to go back to something like that? But the chamber maybe does all the legwork.
To get volunteers back.
But that's what I said, the
was
chamber,
Very, very
it was
hard.
awful.
I walked with a couple youth mayor and council, pulling my little wagon
Yeah,
filled with booklets and dropping them off at stores. And there were actually some stores that wouldn't even let us put our booklets in. And that's what I did. And we drove around, good old.
but to bring it back a little bit,
So-
for two reasons, bring money into this parade, because everything costs more money, all these bands want more. And then two, get the businesses back, but then instead of you running
And we
around,
said-
the chamber
and-
already has
and-
the list of 100
And
businesses.
every April, well, it was 300 businesses.
Or whatever,
300
yeah.
something businesses, and every,
Well, the pamphlet didn't have every name in it.
the pamphlet had every single name.
And then the sponsors were
The
large.
police officer at Paul Daly gave me every single name, and every single name went in there for free.
Yes, and
As an
then,
advertisement. And then after that, then we started to send out an application, just like they did before.
ad.
And for an ad, and 10, 15 cents back, you
It was
know.
getting bad for a while.
And when I talked to Bob Del Sordo, he said it was the hardest thing that they ever had to do. Literally, Tony would have to go maybe a week before or a month before
I remember.
and knock on their doors.
Just something to talk
Gimme,
about
gimme,
again,
gimme,
to
gimme.
keep
But-
bringing everybody together.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the funds that you're doing, I'm not saying,
It's too late
But
to do
imagine-
it now.
well, you think it's too late now?
Yeah,
It's
it's
only about 5
June.
weeks.
Yeah, it's really, really too
And
late
I-
to do it now.
I'm doing signs for
And I'm
a Rotary
okay.
Golf outing that's happening tomorrow, we made it today.
You know, I'm okay with my budget.
I understand.
You know what I am? I'm okay with my budget right now.
But you see, maybe in the future,
But-
we get back to it.
Yeah, and for the centennial, yeah, and for
Chamber should
for next
definitely be part
year.
of Centennial.
Yeah, and for next year, absolutely.
You know, VFW
And,
part of
you know, and
Centennial.
it's something that'll start early. You know what my life situation is.
I understand, it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot for me to.
But I know that these bands, how much money they're asking to come.
They're asking, it's.
I mean,
a
let
lot of
everybody know,
money.
it's tens of
It's-
thousands of dollars.
It's a good
to have this parade.
it's a good 20,000,
Yeah.
just for the bands. But, it's well worth it. We have the best.
And just for the record, Paul used to charge us money to put our names in the book, so I don't know if he never paid for it, I mean, that's what he charged us.
Yeah, and for Christmas
He
parties
did,
as
he
well.
charged us for that book, it was free. So dirty.
Oh.
He hit us for $5 or something.
Charge you $20 for a Christmas party, have 2 slices of pizza and candy.
That was a tough and fun note.
It is a little too late.
I'd say, but to think about it for the next, for 12 months from now.
Sure.
I thought
Because it
about
does take 12 months.
I thought about it happening for this year because Larry actually had everything, because we were ready for a newsletter.
Oh, you started on that.
So he has everything,
Yeah.
all I have to say is Larry did.
Well, I was dealing with Larry today for the Rotary Club. He was doing he was doing, it wasn't, don't do a brochure anymore, they just basically do placemats.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
the diners
yeah,
do it.
Yeah.
So at the event, there's placemats, which is okay.
Well, I read those placemats, and then I fold them up in my pocket.
You're the one out of.
Mayor, can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Tomorrow's the annual lead graduation at the old school run by Sergeant Corcoran and Trolman Stemetsky. So they finished out the year, they taught all their classes, and they're all set for tomorrow.
Nice. Anybody from council going? Is Ms. Kelly going?
Where's that?
Yeah, I gotta speak to her. It's at the old schoolyard.
What time?
I think it starts at 11.
All right, I'll try to get there. It's Marcy's birthday tomorrow, so it's gonna be a birthday, but I'll try to get there.
Anything else?
What else are we doing? Okay, Youth Mayor Council, 4th of July, we're moving along, and it's progress.
Okay, thank you. Engineering, Mr. Bell.
Yes, I was going to read the report, but I guess we're talking to Mark, I'm going to defer to him.
Okay. And you'll have something for the kids, something brief.
Just tell me, what you do. We're doing David, you don't, like, we're doing Davis Road.
We're doing Davis Road. Okay, Mr. Lowenstein.
Harry,
Oh,
what do you got? Mr. Wozon is here.
First of all, thank you for the acquisition of the 2 pickup trucks, well needed in Public Works. For the general meeting, if possible, I know short notice, but I would like to work with the clerk and the finance office. I have several more purchases to have resolutions done, but we'll make sure that they meet all the treasurer's office requirements and so forth before the resolution is done and then put on the agenda for next week. But we will need a resolution for each of the purchases. So just some of the things to highlight is some controllers for the lift stations, equipment trailer, new lawnmower, scout building rugs, and flooring down there. The lake fountain, I don't have a quote in front of me, but I'm working with them to get that ASAP so we can get the fountain back up and running and the treatment in the lake. Just a reminder to everybody, the fountain last year was pretty much from all the clogging and so forth, burned up the wiring plus the unit, and it's actually cheaper to purchase a new one than it is to rebuild everything that's out there. Let's see, capital resolutions. Williamson Third, I sent out an email to a couple of people just to have it for discussion. I don't know if Mark could work it in, but Mark's trying to get unburied from the pile that he has. But we have in front of the school a section of roadway that's about 16 feet by 60 foot long that's just breaking apart. And I asked Mark if he can look to see if we can add it in as a change order under the current road project. It would be something that we pay for, but even if we got to look at taking money out of roads to self-fund it.
Is there anybody we can use, any of the contractors? Are you talking about like even contractors?
We have a Lambert
Like
right
Bogey
now.
owns his money, or Lambert?
Is coming in to do work.
We also throw on asphalt.
So Earl, do you still have open?
Well, it's a new project about running. We're getting contracts for the CDBG project.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the second?
Is this just paving or does some stormwater have to be repaired with that?
It's just paving.
Trying to get some water on?
Unfortunately, I mean, actually, it's the curb line is where the water runs. There is no catch basins in the area. That's what actually deplorated this area is.
So the school's been asking me for a while to get a sign for there. Is that where you're talking about, right that corner, or the entire corner, or just more Williams?
It's more on Williams.
You remember they kept asking for that sign? We just have to figure out how to get it done.
What's that?
What would it be, Chief? It was, he wanted, to push the button?
Oh, crosswalk sign? That's a whole, that's a major, that's a grant. That should be under safe.
It should be under a grant, yeah. All right, we'll try.
Yeah.
Safe routes to schools, right?
Friday, I sent out an email also to our engineer and our legal department with everybody copied about manhole collars and rings. We've got a couple of projects coming in, one pending from South Jersey Gas right now, that when these contractors come in, we've purchased them in the past, but we want to actually amend our road opening ordinance that if they pave any roads within the borough, this gets added to it, that they have to replace the collar and ring. But it also might have to be under the sewer because of the county and the state roads. Because they don't come in for road opening permits on those roads. So kind of like looking at that, but wanted to try getting that sooner than later going so we can try getting it in before a couple of
What's the
years.
example? Is there one they paved over, or was one that's just deteriorating?
They're just deteriorating, and it's cheaper for us to supply a $350 ring and collar and let them, part of their construction, replace it with their contractor. I mean, Mark supplied, it was $1,500, $1,800 just for a contractor to do the work on one. So you add that up with the ring and collar, we save
Have you seen that in
money.
other towns?
Not yet.
You could be the first. I did see about the South Jersey gas that they hadn't done anything. Did you want me to, we're gonna tell them not allowed to work in town anymore? Do you want me to reach out to their government affairs liaison to talk to them? Is it an issue?
Prefer Mark to do, contact Lee first,
Okay.
and see if he can work it out. If not, then we go that route. 'Cause then
So
we-
just so everyone knows, each public utility has a liaison that you can talk to. They're supposed to be between us and the utility about getting things done.
Where did they not be paved?
Part of Davis Avenue, Forest, Sherrington.
We were trying to have a good agreement with them, and they've gone quiet.
Forest Avenue is the big one.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out. I already sent them an email 2 weeks ago, they haven't replied back, so I'll get a little more.
Is that Forest to Davis?
Yes.
Everything else?
Whatever that.
Remember, we kept saying we were supposed to do it, and it's been a year and a half, 2 years now.
So it's things that we've had out there, we're just trying now that they're putting applications in. We kind of got them on the hook because we've been pushing off the applications till we get word. So that's kind of the,
Well, that tends to be their MO. Remember when we squeezed them when they went to put that gas line?
I'll put a little squeeze on them.
Yeah, like they are.
How's the field coming along?
Asphalt, we got the majority of the asphalt up. We have to,
What are we calling you?
Owl's Field.
Owl's Field.
Owls.
Owls.
Um,
Does everyone know where Housefield is?
Behind the locks.
That's why I was calling.
the issue
I can make it
is,
simple. So we all know it's Housefield.
right now with it not being a funded project, the money to get rid of the asphalt might go to Williams if we can't work it in, because that's what I had for the disposal. We are looking.
I heard about $20 a ton. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's about 2024 a ton.
How many ton do you think we had?
No, I didn't even estimate it yet. But, we're trying to make a deal,
That's
we're
what's about,
borrowing Belmar's, triaxle so we can, haul it less. We can get a bigger load with them. But, I mean, we might be, going to find out which one's cheaper. Winzinger or, South State to dump it. So, I mean, that's
We
gonna
want
be
to
a
talk
kid.
to Earl.
They can't take it because it's mixed. If it was straight millings, asphalt mill, they would take it with their place, but with that, we have to haul it to Winzinger or South State for it to be processed.
We still have to thank them for that parking lot. And,
Yes.
It comes up with the RY. We got to do something with the youth. So next time we talk to Bob, we have to come up. Yes, if they can, maybe they could do a plaque thanking and Carol thanks. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure we don't forget things.
No, we gotta get that, do a proclamation or thank you that way,
See,
Alan can do it.
We got to do something.
The other issue is I sent out an email a couple weeks ago, and we sent it out to this afternoon. I got from the green team as being deputized liaison. The anti-idling signs, they're doing a project, trying to move forward with the silver program, and they're asking to put 27 signs throughout borough properties and buildings and so forth. Question that I went back to them was who's funding the materials for installing them itself, when there's posts needed and so forth like that. They didn't account for that, so with that, like I said, they offered, there's 27 spots, so 27 signs. I'd actually like to reduce that to if there's a sign pole available, or if a building we can actually attach it to. I would like to help them out with it, but not with the 27.
It'd be pretty expensive.
Do you have a budget?
I have no, my sign budget's been cut, so with everything else, we had cuts. We have our regulatory signs that we're behind on trying to get up. So I don't have extra poles or anything like that to assist with that. Hardware, as far as a lag and a bolt, screw or something like that, we have. So with that, I probably take it down to 11 or 12 signs.
Are the signs already here?
They're purchasing the signs.
How about instead of purchasing all 27, they purchase some signs and poles?
I don't think they're gonna be able to afford it that way itself.
The only thing I say, sometimes we've put signs on poles that shouldn't have them. Remember we did the neighborhood watch, we put them on some of the street poles, it looks,
Yeah.
or putting signs on telephone poles looks bad.
No, can't do that, but I'm looking at, if we have
We've done
existing
that
poles,
downtown.
if we have existing poles on the property, I mean, we're talking
Some of them.
FNL Park, the RYA building, around the Harry Williams building, the municipal building, parking lots here, that's where we're looking at. We're not looking, putting them on the streets itself. So, with that, I'd like to
Maybe
work with them,
Tyson
but
Hill Road project there.
I'd like to just make sure you're aware of it for that itself. Other than that, everything else we've been working on, we just came off of the holiday. Yard waste is kicking right now. With that grass cutting also, all the sprinklers were turned on today. The Vanilla Park, they're on, but they're not on timer yet because it's still wet in certain areas. So we're letting it, we'll monitor it and so forth like that. But we're being cautious on that itself. We had 2 applications of fertilizer and weeding feed put down already. We are working on other areas with seeding, and we have another application going out with weeding feed on some of the fields. We have 2 manholes that we're working on, a catch basin that are coming up for repairs. And other than that, we are just trying to keep going with everything else. The other thing is don't forget, tomorrow starts, take it away from the clerk, with early voting. So that was set up today, and then we got regular voting next week. With cooperation with the clerk's office, we got that all squared away today and set up, and that will be ready for tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock when they come in and move everything around.
I saw your email on the signs on Davis Road, you're not putting them up. So what's happening? The direction signs of,
That was a while ago. That's been all addressed.
okay. But they're not communicating with EMS?
We're not getting any closures or anything like that, notices that we talked about previously, fire department or EMS. So we are waiting for the engineer to report his report here in a couple minutes. He's setting up a monthly progress report meeting, and that will be discussed at those meetings.
Okay, very good.
I'm also going to John tomorrow. I was under the impression that police officers that were on site would let EMS and fire know what was going on, but
Yeah, well, we should have them notice the night before, because they're just going out there setting up, they don't know until the morning when they get out there for their extra patrol, for that part. So if they know where they're working, that should be doing out the night before. I mean, that was part of the pre-time on having the schedule, so.
The only thing I'll say is I'm under the impression that the roads are never closed. But emergency vehicles can get through at any time, the schools, the trash trucks, I mean, you got
Yeah, but it's nice to know
house at
where-
6 o'clock in the morning picking up the trash.
But it's nice to know where they're working at the night before for them for a pre-plan.
I don't disagree with that, but the roads are not closed.
Correct.
I wanted to thank you for cutting the grass at the RY Fields today.
There you
I know
were.
you weren't out there cutting the grass, but your guys went out there and got it done immediately.
Well, that
So
was
I
just-
really appreciate it.
Well, was there a call?
Of course there was. There always is a call, guys,
I get a call every morning.
Yeah.
And we can do it.
you know.
We've
But
been addressing after the yard waste.
once again, we had a meeting with the creative team from the green team. One of the big issues was calendars, so everybody knows when things are going on.
I drove
And
by-
I just can't believe that we should have known way in advance when the opening day was for the men's baseball. And that's all, I'm not blaming you for not knowing it, but that's the kind of stuff that we're talking about. There's no way that wasn't planned 2 months ago, when the opening day was in the schedule.
The big, is he talking about the big field?
Yes,
Oh, because I drove by the major field, it should look great.
once again, I don't drive by the fields, so, but I got.
You should, now, every
I
morning.
got an email.
Yeah.
Drive around the whole town.
I got an email this morning about the
Take it.
same thing, and, but it wasn't because of schedule, because the district decided to host, have Runnemede host one of the games, so.
That's not the call I got, I know.
I know yours.
You got one from the school?
No, from, wow,
Oh, so we're having the district game there too.
yes, but, no,
That's
it's a
great.
playoff game.
Well, playoff field, you never did schedule.
No,
a
we
playoff.
have no schedule, so,
Yeah.
but, and I already, I tell them, you give me last minute, at 12:30, you give me, at 10:30, you give me a text. it might get done that day, it might not, you know, it is what it is. But they're not bad enough where they're not in tight condition. There's some people want it.
And Citizen Bank Park, I understand.
Joe there?
You know.
But thank you for getting it done. I did get a lot of nice text messages.
We do.
But I didn't respond to the nice ones, I didn't respond to the negative ones. All right, anything else? We good?
Yeah, good, yeah.
All right, Parks and Rec.
Feels a cut.
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
Softball, baseball, winding up. Softball's having a pretty good season. They got 5 teams for. Baseball's winding up. They're not having any district teams this year. They decided against it, but they do have a tournament team, but that's not associated with Little League. I think it's the 8, 9. I forget which ones it is. I think it's Burns kids.
8, 9.
8, 9. They're having something. RYA, they got their board. I think I gave everybody the name of the board. You know, trustees, they're having their meetings. They're being pretty good. We talked about deluxe, hold up, house field.
House field.
You know, which is good. I mean, softball, you know, they getting washed out a lot at Dennisville, right?
Yeah,
So you
Little
still
Park.
Little Park.
So still, that rain was terrible.
I mean, for the last month, every Saturday, Sunday's been raining.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And, you know, and if they have younger kids, there's no sense in going out there. If they have a little bit older kids, they might go out there and try it. But younger kids, why would they take a chance? So, but they do what they do. But the part of it's not raining is that it just holds a lot of water. It takes a little bit.
Well, that's our next project. After we get done with Howe's Field, we're gonna get the backhoe, start digging trenches.
The material has already been purchased.
That's it. He's on it. And then, that's about it. The rest is progress. See, Scout building, I'm not sure about. I haven't seen it. He said.
So Scout and softball, hopefully moving forward, both of them, right? I mean, both are moving
Our
forward.
softball was moving forward.
Yep.
But
And Scouts, I think, the floor started getting,
Yeah.
the floor started getting poured at the Scouts from what I understand.
Okay.
2,400 square feet, that's the Scout building. Anyways, how big it was. George told me about 6,000.
He doesn't talk much.
Anything else?
No, the rest is progress.
Solicitor? Come on, give me the one thing.
No report at this time, but I will touch on the interims briefly. They are filed. I don't know the status as of today's date, but we are potentially inquiring to see if we can obtain deeds in lieu of foreclosure.
Yes.
The timeline has become more onerous since the Supreme Court came down with another case.
Let's make sure everyone understands what you're saying.
So the Supreme
So,
Court came down with a case
let me
saying-
back up even further. So, what year was it, John? 1987? No, it wasn't. It was about 7 years ago. We started to foreclose on the land behind the RYA fields. That, they went defunct, right? The corporation that owned it,
I believe so.
they went defunct?
17.
How many years has it been? I don't know. So we started it's before I got here. And so now we're at a point where we're petitioning the court to just give us the,
We filed them with the in-rem foreclosure complaint. But I said, it says that the United States Supreme Court case came out about a year or two ago saying that it was a taking.
well, they think, because we're a government entity.
Because you're getting
Here,
property.
use the microphone, because you're giving everybody a legal.
Essentially, you're getting property at a huge discount, to whoever's foreclosing on these properties. So they're requiring personal service, they're making it more onerous for us to accomplish.
Okay.
We've had some success doing these in lieu of, essentially it's saying, we're going to forgive your lien if you'll deed the property over to us. So I know in Berlin Berlin Borough that works, so hopefully this will work here, and that'll short circuit us having to wait potentially a year or more to get accomplished.
So just if you remember, when we started doing the field work, we actually encroached on this land because it was, nobody was there. And we tried to take it legally, but we just, Mark, we just gotta put the fence where we needed to put the fence. Mark gave me that same face when we put the fence, where we put the fence. And so it's been how many years, and it's just something to get resolved because I know we want to do some drainage work down there. And we're in the process, hopefully, of getting a quote to do that drainage work between the fields, and it might end up draining into this land that's not our land technically yet. But I don't have any, I mean, every lawyer we've had always said, it's okay to keep moving forward.
Is the fence on that property also?
No, it's still on our property. It's right against it.
I was gonna say.
We wanted to put a walking path behind it, but we couldn't do that yet.
Yeah, we cut the grass now, we maintain it, or we don't know. He's good. Not gonna let me go on.
I was gonna say potentially like an adverse possession claim,
Oh, you would use that?
potentially if it met the criteria.
So that's the long and the short. It's something we've been trying to get done for a long time. It's no different than how long it took us to do the acting, how long it took to get the field, the house field, we're finally starting to move on and stuff like that. Okay, so not the solicitor's report, that's what the engineer's report. Yeah, nothing else, right? John's here, I had a tour truck because he was here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank Steve Bach and Stephen Suffrage for sitting in for me for the past couple of meetings as I've been recovering from back surgery. And I want to thank everybody that sent me well wishes in my absence. But I submitted a status report through email to everybody, just go over anything that's been updated since the last meeting. The ADA bathroom addition at the Harry Williams building, we had soil borings taken to figure out what type of soil was out there to help with our foundation design. We're still waiting on that report. Once we get that, we'll be able to finalize our design plans, and then we will review them with the borough just to make sure everything is what you want. We will be ready to go out to bid them, but this is contingent on getting CDBG funding, so I don't know if you want to wait to go out to bid till we
need to have funding before we
Right.
go out to bid.
Well, you can go out to bid without the funding, you just can't award it, so it might be, you have 60 days to award it. So anyway, so we'll work with the borough, but right now we're waiting on the soil boring report to come in. The 2023 CDBG project on West 2nd and West 4th Avenue, you award the base bid and add alternate bid number 1 to Borough Asphalt Company. We did send out contracts to them, we're just waiting for them to come back. As soon as we get the contracts, we will get a pre-construction meeting set up and get the project rolling. The DOT 2024 state aid project on Mitchell Avenue, our field survey work is complete, and we're currently preparing the existing conditions base plan. As soon as that base plan is complete, we'll be able to start the design on that project. DPW drainage improvements. We submitted a site plan, a stormwater drainage report, and an application to the Camden County Soil Conservation District. Once we get that permit, we'll be able to go out to bid on that. We're also going to be coordinating with CCMUA to get funding on that as well.
So we're going to let them know what it costs before we start.
We're trying to come up with an estimate, and then we'll put it out to bid. But we need that permit first, because if the soil conservation makes us do revisions, we want to take care of that before we put it out to bid. The 2023 project on Harding Avenue.
You skipped over the RYA.
There was no update on that. We're still working on it. That's the LRIG application that we got funding for. We are finalizing the design of that, and we're trying to get the drainage as you were talking about. We're still finalizing that design. And as soon as we get that done, we'll go over with Harry just to make sure it meets what he wanted. There was one we got surveyed, it tweaked how we wanted to do it, but we're trying to finalize the design right now. The 2023 DOT project on Harding and Payne, the contracts were executed. We had a pre-construction meeting, so I want to thank Nick Bishop from our office for filling in for me for that. I believe Nick will be here next Wednesday at the council meeting because I have another commitment because we have a special night because of the election. But we were going to have the notice to proceed for this past Tuesday, but because it's adjacent to the Triton High School, everybody agreed that it would make sense to wait until school was out. So the notice to proceed was issued for June 17th after school is completed. Under general engineering, the Girl Scout building, our architect's been working with DPW, so we'll provide assistance as needed on that moving forward. And Harry gave a little update on what the status was on that. The fiscal year 2025 community project funding information. We had mentioned this a couple of meetings ago. Senator Booker was asking for applications for potential projects. We put in $1 million application to do slip lining on sanitary and stormwater sewer slip lining. We received word from Senator Booker's office that he is recommending that this is one of the projects that goes before the environmental and related agencies, the subcommittee. So it's not approved yet, but it made the next step. So hopefully we'll be getting funding on
I
that.
saw that letter, that was nice.
One thing we'll probably have to do is, because it's $1 million grant, we'll probably have to go through the infrastructure trust again. So we'll see where this takes us, but
Shelley's getting good.
but anyway, we'll have to start that if we're going to get funded and use the infrastructure trust fund for that. And I think the money then goes through the infrastructure trust to the municipality. The Camden County Open Space, the round 24 application was submitted for decorative lighting at the Vanilla Memorial Park. No grant announcements made yet to date. The 2024 local recreation improvement grant, that's where we put in for tennis and pickleball court improvements. That was submitted before the deadline, and no grant announcements have been made on that one to date either. The 2025 municipal aid applications, they are due July 1st. We just heard last week, so we have a quick turnaround with that. I've been talking to Bob. He was going to come up, drive around, look at some roads, make some recommendations. We'll circle back to that at the end of my report, and maybe we can put that up for discussion. Pump Station H.
Oh, so you need to know this before July 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
We can submit the
We can decide
resolution,
by the fifth,
the
right?
resolution to be done after
After.
the fact, but we just have to know what application to work on. So Bob can work with Harry and come up with a recommendation or two, and we can talk about that and get that application started. And Steve is my application guy, so he's going to move forward with that as soon as you give us word. Pump Station H, we moved money around. We did get the $100,000 for that, so we will start coordinating the upgrades to the pump station. And it's going to be over the bid threshold, but there's if you're doing sanitary sewer improvements, there's a GG application you can do, which is you can bypass public bidding and get quotes on anything that improves a sanitary system. So once we get the scope of work, we can pre-quote it and move forward and not have to go out.
Does anybody else know anything about Horton? Have they submitted their sewer connection fees? Have they submitted their building permits? Does anybody know?
The pre-construction meeting is this Thursday at 10 o'clock. They supposedly have everything in place. I will confirm that. They did put the $100,000 in place. They put.
Because if you know, they should be doing our sewer connection application fees and then permits. I'm assuming escrow for all the performance stuff is all done, right? So is this to start digging and clearing?
Yes.
Where's that pre-construction? Is it here?
It's going to be right here.
Can I ask our construction officials to stop in?
Okay.
That makes sense.
Thursday at
Thursday,
9
10
o'clock.
a.m.?
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
9? Okay.
9 o'clock, yeah.
That's a good idea. That's what
And
Mark was
I'll-
yelling at me, that I didn't tell him that kind of stuff. Okay.
I will-
It's my fault.
I heard you.
And I will check on their sewer connection.
Where's Pump Station H? Which is
That's
Each Road, it's where everything
H.
drains.
Don't you know where H is?
Mark
Temporary, you
Farms.
know, temporary. H.
It's on East Sham Road, there's a little,
Dumbest,
it's hidden. There's a little, the borough has a 10-foot right of way.
yeah. I tried to change it, you guys.
But
won't let me
because
change
they're
it.
putting 90-some houses onto the system, we have to upgrade it. So we calculated what their fair share contribution for that upgrade would be, and that's where we came up with $100,000.
They obviously agreed, huh?
And they-
You know, everything rolls downhill.
Yep. On page 8, the sewer extension project on Davis Road. We've had a few hiccups along the way. We're trying to get everything resolved, but we've made significant progress. They've had 2 payment applications to date we've been working on. I will be setting up monthly progress meetings with the contractor and Mike the Borough. We just have to come up with an agreed upon date. I will follow through with the EMS and fire notification, just to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And we did have to put in well points. We encountered groundwater that was affecting construction. And I believe that's why they moved over to Hartford Road today, because they installed the well points near Evergreen, so they gotta get that area
That's
dried
the way
out.
to do it. Why did when it was all collapsing? You see how much faster they moved once they got away from the water?
And I believe that's why they moved over to Hartford Drive today, but I will follow up to make sure they're giving us advance
Is that the
notification.
white piping alongside the road with the pumping?
Yes, it's drawing out the groundwater and lowering the water table temporarily.
Doing a lot on Saturday.
And that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions about anything else. And Harry's raising his hand, so, yes, Harry.
Mark, page 7, the stormwater slip lining,
Yeah,
sewer slip lining.
we're working on getting that out to bid. There's contractors are questioning whether we can slip line the elliptical pipe.
Yes. Okay.
So we're not sure we can put it out to bid, but it may not be something that they can do.
Oh, really? Because it's,
It's elliptical.
you can't stop line it.
You can to a certain extent, but because of the size of it, they're questioning whether,
How deep is the pipe?
I don't know. Ice.
How deep?
It's about 8 to 6 feet down. But the problem of it is all the other utilities above it going across and so forth. That's why it's elliptical. So the restoration would be astronomical. That's why we're looking at slip lining.
What road?
I'm sorry?
What road is it?
It's two areas, but.
We have the areas that we've been working on Randall and so forth. This is at Phillips and Reed.
It's deep over there. Yeah, it's.
It's,
We had emergency repairs over there. We tried, we slip lined from, but it wasn't the elliptical part, from, what was it?
Right there, I remember.
Yeah.
That's we also had that problem where we were
And then
pumping water for months.
we had to do a point repair, and they ran into some problems there, and then there was some other
We hired
area
a
nearby.
contractor too, that was the problem.
Well, there was two areas that we had problems with. One was we were slip lining the main pump line. Is that on Reed, or was that?
we did the sewer slip lining
Reed
over there. We had to have one
Yeah.
on the side road.
Yeah.
But that was a sanitary.
Okay, well, yeah, we're trying to get that out to bid. We don't know if anybody's gonna bid it, because it may not be physically possible.
Slip lining, what that house that was supposed to slip line under, that's dead in the water.
No, not really. We actually sent a legal letter saying that we can do it, and if anything happens to your property, it's on you.
And that's part of this bid process
Yeah,
also.
that's part of the bid.
We're combining it together.
I mean, I went to the house twice. I don't know how many times I can go there. Harry went with me, and we had the one gentleman to sign. But she said she wanted her attorney to review it, and that's the end of that.
Here's a question, personal question. Your sewer line coming from your house to the street, can that be slip line?
Yes, to a certain grade. There's companies that actually do the 4-inch and so forth, but it is just as costly as replacing it, because they have to actually go into the main with a robot and cut it out and to reseal it on the main side itself, so that's where it gets expensive
Well, I just
for the
have-
4-inch.
I just have concrete in the tar in my driveway that runs under there, just curious. All right.
Anything
That's
else?
something, yeah. When Steve was here last meeting, he was looking into Orchard Avenue, running that storm drain and line
Oh, like an easement
easement.
between two properties to alleviate water. Right, is that what it was, the
Yeah.
water?
Yeah, we thought it was Borough property at one point in time, but it wasn't. I don't know if he made any progress on that, but I will follow up with him.
The only thing is, if it was gonna work, we would have to just get an easement from the two neighbors, right, or one neighbor, or
Yeah, I think it's just the one.
just one guy, and then go through his yard.
I will check into that and see what we can do with that.
Mark, on Davis Road,
Yes.
for that project, have we rescheduled with the DEC when they wanted to come out and do an inspection?
Well, that's what
We
I,
had to delay that.
yeah, I have to set up these monthly meetings, and the one gentleman wanted to come to those, so I just have to get them set up. Now,
I think it's important to get him here so we can get money from them and start paying bills. Because if he hasn't been out here, we'll take pictures, certain things, right? That was the young guy?
Well, I knew they wanted to get out here in the beginning, but we hadn't even started construction yet. So,
Now that we're under construction, we're gonna get the monthly meetings going, they'll get invited.
And they know this, the contractor knows this, he's done these other ones, yeah. Okay, anything else? No? Okay.
You know, and great to be back.
It is good to see you.
Pain-free.
Good. Glad. Very glad for you. Okay, payment of bills. Would someone like to make a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Lawrence, I second by Mr. Farrell. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gracia?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lorenzo?
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
All right, the bills should be paid. This is good and welfare. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address.
Good evening, I'm David Steinberg, I live at 835 East Clement Street, front apartment number 313 here in Runnemede. Got a few things I want to talk to you about. One of the things is I'm going to pass a fact sheet around that I prepared called Helpsy Textile Collection. I believe I have enough for everybody here on this side of the fence.
Let's give them to Richie and he'll hear them.
Unfortunately, I don't have enough for the audience. A couple weeks ago, I went up to the Sustainable Jersey Summit they had in Homedale, and there are a lot of vendors there, and this is one particular vendor that followed up. And I kind of like it, but again, I'm throwing this out for the borough to consider. I'm not going to go over all the different things here, because these are things that you can certainly read. But essentially, with clothing pickup, it prevents a lot of things from going into the waste stream. Thank you. Excuse me, would you mind passing it to the back door? Oh, okay. Thank you, appreciate that. I'm going to pass this around to the audience. Basically, what they do is they have these boxes, and I'm sure you've seen them in a lot of different places. And I like this company for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're a B corporation. They have a mission not to make the most money, but to make a big difference. If you're familiar with B corporations, many B corporations will have that particular aspect to them as well. They offer several different things along with this, beside the boxes. They can also do a collection on a particular day. They can, and if the borough decides they want to move forward with this, then every person in Runnemede on 08078 that will call in for a pickup, the borough would receive credit for that. I've listed what the borough would receive at the bottom of the first page. The second page lists basically the things that they accept. So these are things that are not going into the incinerator, the landfills, and a lot of them are reused. They're reused, most of what they collect. I don't know what to do with the rest of it. I haven't gotten that far with them. But we are already doing collections of eyeglasses and sneakers.
And prescriptions.
And prescriptions. Thank you. That's correct. So as far as Sustainable Jersey is concerned, we get 5 points for this collection as well. We're getting 5 for each of the other things as well. Which, just to bring you up to date, we're looking...
What if we're doing it right now with LEED? When I said that to you.
Yeah,
we're already doing it with
LEED.
the police department.
Right.
Can we get credit by doing it with them? That's something I'd like you to look into. We've made a commitment with the...
That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
And there's a lot of concern about putting more of these out there. You know, because remember, when you come in front of the board and for a site plan and you say, I need 100 parking spots, and all of a sudden you start filling them up with containers, that takes away from your parking spots that you said we're going to use for cars. So there's where some concerns are. Those are the 2 concerns I think we have is, putting these in the right spots. And even the ones we have now, we're trying to regulate them because they're getting put up all over the place. But if you could look into if the league could get us the points, if the goal was to get the points, but the other goal was to get some funding, is that correct?
Yeah, the other goal is to get some funding. So they will pay this directly to the borough with a contract with the borough. I forwarded a copy when I forwarded it to you and also Mrs. Pasco. I also forwarded a copy to Dan Long's office as well. So at least you would at least.
Sure, appreciate that.
Well, I figured we got to do something, and it.
I don't think you need to forward that kind of stuff.
What's that?
I don't think you need to send that kind of stuff to our attorney for him to review. council has to review this kind of stuff first before we send it
I
to.
realize that, but I was, when I asked who to send it to, I was advised to send it to the three of you.
Send it to the attorney. Okay.
That's good. Let's see. Now, if there are any funds collected, I'd like to, because of the issue that was discussed earlier about the anti-idling signs, I'm working with the anti-idling as well. This may be an opportunity, again, council has to decide they want to move forward with this. But my thoughts here are is perhaps this might be where some of the money might come to be able to fund this for the anti-idling signs that are on borough property only. We have gotten about 20-some, I don't know the exact number, of businesses that have agreed to take the signs.
They'll install them themselves.
They will install them themselves, that's correct. That's correct. So this way, nothing like that will fall with, as far as the borough is concerned. Any questions?
Anybody any questions? Okay.
I've already talked to Kathy Hornibrook in regards to these bins. I'm definitely not in favor of having more bins in our town. But there are other organizations, and I gave her a list of phone numbers that many schools, businesses call, and their clothing fund drives.
Right.
Just like you said, that this organization also does that.
Right.
So you can make a fairly decent amount of money having just a clothing drive on one specific day where we don't have to have bins in our town, where, we've had bins in our town where they overflow, they bring rodents, people have appliances put there when it's only supposed to be clothing, God only knows what else is in clothing. We want our town to start looking, to be beautiful and not be over populated with all of these bins. So there are other things that you can do to collect money. So like I said, I did give Kathy a list of phone numbers, and I'm hoping that she'll call them up and, maybe that can redirect her a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be talking with Kathy about this. I spoke to her earlier today, letting her know I was going to be here to make a presentation, and she wanted me to get back to her afterwards.
I mean, it definitely isn't, for me to say. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, well,
So we do have mayor and council.
Mayor doesn't have a vote.
You don't have a vote, but I thought that there's not enough votes that you have a vote.
Okay, was there anything else, Dave?
Yes, a couple other things. Okay, now, I want to go back to something that Harry said a little while ago. You said something about 11 or 12 signs you need. You want to lower the number?
Yes.
I want to look at it, yes. You want to lower the number?
I have no problem with that. I just need to know how many. Now, would you have any problem, well, we don't have the money for all of the installation, would it be okay if we were to order the signs, leave them with you, and once you get the funds, then you do whatever installation you need to do? Would that work out?
Use a multi-year program and slowly do it.
We can do something like that, yeah.
Is it easier and cheaper for you guys to buy them all at once? Is that?
Yeah. They're not that expensive. We're getting them from the Department of Environmental Protection. They have a
They're
certain
aluminum signs, right? The
aluminum signs, standard signs
Okay, great.
that they provide all municipalities. So it'll be uniform throughout the town.
Nice.
Okay, one or two more things here. Next Monday is a meeting with the National Park Service, which Councilman Farrell attended last time, and I'm hoping that Councilman Sapero and Councilman Lobenstein can make. It's 11 o'clock next Monday.
It's a Zoom now, right?
It's going to be a Zoom, that's correct. Yeah. So I realize your work commitments, but if any possibility you can make that, I think that'd be really good. We have a little bit of an agenda, but the agenda is just simply a place to begin to talk about. And any thoughts that any of you have, I would very much like to have. In the event that you're not able to make the meeting, then we certainly will make it a point to bring those things up. And I think it's really important that we take a long-range look at what we can do as far as our parks and trails are concerned. There are lots of possibilities, but again, they would do the work. They would do all the things that we would need, and then they also have options which they won't be able to provide the funding for us, but they have a lot of sources for funding that we can make our own applications for. So I think this would be a real good thing for long-term planning as far as the parks are concerned. Let's see. What was the other thing? Okay, one last thing here is now we're on a bit different hat on. I wear a lot of hats these days. Some people think I have more than one head, but I know what the truth is. I have actually 5 heads, not one. So, coming from Reimagine Runnemede, we want to put another load of mulch in with the gardens that we have, and we're proposing to do it possibly this weekend and maybe next weekend.
What gardens?
Pardon me?
Where are you talking about?
At the Labyrinth.
Oh, at the Labyrinth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, Is there any objection, right, for them to do their own work? Harry, that's volunteerism?
I had a discussion with Craig last time, as far as the placement is concerned, we'll do the same spot. And right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be this weekend or next weekend. I was hoping I could wrap all this up before the meeting, but I've got a couple of phone calls. People are supposed to call me a little later as far as getting volunteers and this sort of thing.
Yeah, just shoot an email so we know that who's going out there. I think that's
Yeah,
acceptable.
as soon as I find
So the
out.
Public Works knows, and, you know,
Yeah,
knows what's
yeah.
going on.
I'll send a notice out to everybody.
You're just maintaining the new bushes and stuff like that.
Maintaining, yeah, we actually planted a couple weeks ago in addition to, because some didn't make it. So everyone seems to be doing pretty good there.
Good.
If any of you have been around taking a look at it. We're very happy as far as that's concerned. Got a lot of nice comments from people walking by.
It's unique.
Runnemede rocks.
Yep. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Anyone else? Yeah. Now.
Hi, Val Colasano at 31 North Oakland. It was a lovely Memorial Day service, Patty. Everyone enjoyed.
What do you think I didn't see you?
I was there.
I'm sorry, you saw me, okay.
Yes, and thank you from everyone. It was nice.
Thanks, man. Anyone else? Come on, Bill, you come to the meeting, come say something. Okay, I torture everybody in the audience. If no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion? Is that why nobody comes? Come on. Motion.
I'll second it.
Oh, you guys are too fast. Motion by Mr. Longstein, second by Mr. Shapiro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any other business? Is there a motion? Oh, look at that.
If you don't mind.
No.
Our band sale is next week. I will send everybody the results.
So upon anticipation note, usually what we do is we have short-term funding, 11 months. People buy our debt, short-term, we pay interest on it. It's very low interest because we're the government, and the rates have gone up. And hoping we get some more people interested in it.
We do fairly well as far as the bids that we receive. So they're pretty consistent in what we receive year after year. And our audit is progressing very nicely. This year, we got a lot of work done. So
Do you want to report, if you want to know anything about court, let anybody know about your impromptu meeting today that you cursed everybody about? And,
I actually did not today.
oh. You didn't know?
I-
Okay.
Yeah. Thursday or Friday.
Well, should we keep people, we want to keep them aware of what's going on? Keep people aware, just quickly, just because she had a meeting with the mayor of Somerville, and I think
We
it's
are,
important.
yes, as everybody knows, our court administrator is retiring this year. So we are evaluating different opportunities right now as to what is the best thing for us to do moving forward. So I did meet with the mayor of Somerdale today, unexpectedly.
She had it on her calendar for tomorrow,
I did.
and he had it on his calendar for tomorrow. And he showed up today.
He did. Oh, wow.
He wrote the wrong date down.
Which was fine. But we are evaluating several different things as to what may or may not happen. Nothing is set in stone just yet. There's a lot of different.
Well, let him know how he felt about our facilities and our building and all that.
Yes,
You know, what
he very
Runnemede
much
is-
likes our
is-
facilities. We have a very nice facility compared to other towns. Our
We do.
courtroom is very nice. We have very large parking lots. If you go to other towns, the parking is limited, the courtrooms are smaller. We have very nice facilities. We have areas for the public defender and the prosecutors to meet with people. So we have an excellent facility here. And we also have a separate entrance, which oftentimes you do not have. Oftentimes the residents and attendees for court are all trying to come in the same area. And, the line to see the public defender or the prosecutor are also the same line as your residents trying to get to the tax office. So this is actually a very opportune location.
State of the art.
It really is. We do have a lot of pluses.
So they're looking at us as working together, and we could put some of our employees, our facility, there's a whole formula. The idea is that, our borough lost money in court this year. Some of the other boroughs lost a lot more
All
money.
boroughs have lost money. It's no secret that the revenue per court has massively declined over the last 5 to 6 years.
And then there's nobody qualified to be a court administrator. That's the issue, that's the bigger issue. There's nobody coming up, taking these tests or classes. It's amazing.
So nothing is set in stone. Right now, we're just talking about different opportunities that could help.
Well, tell them all the
Several
towns.
towns.
Tell them all the towns.
Several
There's a lot of
towns.
towns.
The potential would be 5 or 6 towns.
So Somerdale, Haddonfield, Magnolia, Runnemede, Pine Hill, Small Springs. It's a lot of towns. It's big.
Yes. And ideally, the state is looking at doing that as a model everywhere.
A regional facility. So it's interesting.
And this actually may be what they use
Yes,
moving forward as the model. Yes, so if it's done, it's going to be done correctly. So,
And this is one of those things that, I hate to equate it to police, but we have a budget for police, we do it. Court, we're doing this and we're doing it because the state is making us do it. In reality, they make us use their rules, use their stuff. And they set all the rules, and what was our revenue, Dan? We went from, our revenue is down by close to 60%, more than 60% of what we used to get. We brought in $27,000 in 5 months, where we used to bring in, I said when Martha was here, we were bringing in almost 150 to 170 with Martha.
And it's not for lack of production from the police
Yeah,
officers,
it's a
as
different
Dan Long said.
Yeah, it's a different world.
The mechanisms for pay.
Could be liaison you have. if you-
Oh, could be.
Could be.
Yeah.
and I can say by comparison, among the 6 towns, as far as traffic tickets go, we are the highest in the weighted
We're the biggest of all the
average.
towns, yeah.
We are. So
Which is
even though
interesting.
size-wise, we may not be, as far as our weighted average in traffic tickets, that we do bring in the most volume.
So there's a formula to plug everyone's information into. And it also takes into consideration the building and all this other kind of stuff. And then it spits back out what every town should pay to keep this thing going. But the advantage is what George is doing from Somerdale. He's a retired police chief. Was he chief?
No, so
He was a retired.
he was an SRO for like 15 years and started really good.
So
Great
George
guy.
has a lot of police background, and I think he's a great guy, and I think that he sees that this is the economies of scale mentality. You can't, all these part-time, it's almost like construction, all these part-time people that you're trying to get together, and then somebody has to be certified, which is the biggest issue. We would be in a stronger position if we had someone certified, because then we would be the main lead, the lead for it, so.
Well, I mean, we're providing quite a bit here. So.
We are.
We are.
So, okay, thank you. Okay, she talked to her. Usually you never want to say anything. Okay, nothing else then? All right. Someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion by Ms. Passio, second by Mr. Robinstein. All in favor? Aye. All right, we adjourn at 7:46.